Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Codie Grimsey, and this is my guest today, Lily Mitchell.
Hello.
Thank you, Lily, for being on the podcast today.
So welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's all right. You might have noticed that I didn't introduce the podcast name.
Ooh.
That's because we don't have one yet.
That's what you want them to think.
I think I briefly kind of explained to you the format of it through Facebook Messenger, but
all professional channels.
yeah, basically, we're just going to talk for a bit, and then we're going to pull out of this hat here 3 talking topics. Could be super random, and yeah, just have a bit of fun, really. But the podcast name that I originally thought of was going to be called The Three Things.
Ooh.
Basic, but then I looked it up and it turns out there's already a podcast with that name. So I thought maybe at the end of each episode for the first season, I can just ask the guest what they think the name should be.
Oh, I love this.
And then the guest that has the best podcast name gets to name the podcast.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a good plan.
Sounds good.
Mm.
But so you were talking briefly before we started recording about your background. You studied sound. You studied...
Yeah, I studied film and screen media productions, so definitely have consistent work all the time.
That's a very popular course to have studied in the stand-up comedy world.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was so surprised how many people are in radio, which makes sense because it's all performative. Like we're talking and we're good at talking. Well, half the time we're good at talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to uni, did some fine arts and transferred to film because I'm obsessed with films and TV. And
what's your favourite movie?
Oh, that's really hard.
Favourite movie at the moment? What's the most recent one that you've enjoyed?
Oh, Frances Ha is definitely one that I've really enjoyed.
I don't know if I've heard of that.
Greta Gerwig.
It's a good one?
Yeah, really good. All in black and white.
Oh, okay.
But it's
so
still...
you really like you really get into that kind of culture and that community.
Well, I'm actually pretty slack. Like for a film student, I've never seen The Godfather. What are some of the other? I've never seen Citizen Kane. I've never seen. There's just a bunch of classics that you as a filmmaker. Everyone raves and goes, "This is what you need to be." These are how historically film changed, and that I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
I liked Harry Potter.
That's funny. Well, are you the sort of person that would watch the same movie multiple times?
Yeah, definitely.
What's the movie that you think you've watched the most amount of times?
Oh, probably The Holiday or Bridget Jones.
Holiday, is that? Yeah, that's the one where, is that Vince Vaughn in that movie?
No, well, not my version.
Okay.
But it's Jack Black, Kate Winslet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jude Law, Cameron, I was going to say Cameron Dallas, that Viner from, ew. No, Cameron Diaz, and they swap homes.
That is a great movie.
Yeah, I love
rom-coms? Do you like Love Actually?
Yeah, I don't mind Love Actually. I feel with The Holiday, Hans, because I'm obsessed obviously with sound, Hans Zimmer's score for that, just the movie, it's a Nancy Meyers film, writer-director, and she did It's Complicated, The Intern. I think she did The Intern. Okay. But yeah, so she's got...
The Intern with Robert De Niro? That's a great one, yeah.
Yeah, so she's got this really stunning writing that she does, but then she's also connected with Hans Zimmer, got him to do the score, and then it just made the movie 10 times better. There is a line that Kate Winslet does have a line about disability parking in the first scene, which now later looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's a bit ableist. Actually.
Okay, I was about to say, was it problematic or supportive or
it's just she basically is talking about how being someone unrequited love is basically as tragic as basically having a disability, but you don't get the parking permit. And I look at that line every time and kind of go, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, damn,
such a shame, yeah. That's
God damn it! But I get
it's at the start of the movie as well.
Literally the third line, first scene. Kate Winslet's voiceover, narration, settling into the tone, and then it's ableism.
I love the idea because you love the movie. I love the idea of you like contacting the director and being like, look, I don't want to cancel the thing, but can we just get a separate copy that just edits that out?
Yeah. Like, can heartbreak mean something else that doesn't like make a comparison to the disabled experience?
I've got some options for you here.
I've run through some things. If you just want to ADR, if you can just hire Kate Winslet for an afternoon and ADR these over the top, that'd be really great.
I love the idea
Nance.
as well. Like, you're still suggesting hire Kate Winslet. You're like, look, I'm not suggesting we cancel her. In fact, I've got more work for her, to be honest.
Exactly.
So, okay, TV shows. Any favourite TV shows?
Well, in terms of comedy, I don't know if that's...
Doesn't have to be comedy.
It doesn't have to be comedy? Well,
I tend to like comedy.
Yes. Yeah, I do like to wind down, so comedy's like a thing. But I grew up with like Lano and Woodley, and we used to watch their show on repeat. Like, and it's only 2 seasons. That was one thing that I grew up with that's like probably made me the style of comic I am.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, because they're just so... It's so sketch and like slapstick and very...
There was, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and apparently there was a third member of the Lano and Woodley in the beginning. I don't know. But that's so interesting.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
And how salty would they be? I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Maybe
they're even more successful and it's fine because they've won like all those awards. As like they went to like Edinburgh Fringe and I don't know if I think it was in the 90s and like won all these awards. So it was really funny. I used to play in a band and I did their first little like East Coast tour where we only went to a few cities, and we were talking about how like imagine if you were the drummer before Ringo Starr and then the Beatles took off. And do you know what's really funny? That band, she's my friend from high school and she's doing really, really well. And I'm the drummer before Ringo Starr, but I was the keyboard player playing the bass lines because we didn't have a bass
For Lano and Woodley? What's that band called now?
Eliza and the Delusionals.
Okay, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, they're on Triple J and she's doing amazing.
Wow.
So if she ever hears this, I love you.
and you want back in?
Oh, no, she can have her own moment, of course. Yeah. But hey, you know.
But if you're looking for...
if you need someone to edit your, like, I don't know, sound design, I don't know.
What do you do? What's your day job at the moment?
Day job at the moment. Oh, I'm doing a little bit of like consulting on projects. So for context, anyone listening. Yeah. So I like to talk about stuff to people and occasionally get paid for it. No, I for context for anyone who's unaware, I have low vision. So I do a lot of like now and then projects come along and I'll consult on basically the accessibility if it's like a written document or like usually to do with filmmaking and whether or not like the marketing or the branding's accessible and legible and easy to read and that sort of stuff. So yeah, doing a bit of that. Yep. And I've also got my friend who's a director has this stunning short film coming up and we're about to shoot that in just at the end of April, early May. So I'll be on a film set soon.
And you're starring in that one or?
I fucking wish. No, I'm doing sound assisting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Falling back into sound department again.
Yep. I love the idea that what you described as your consulting job.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a sick podcast idea. Choosing a different movie every episode and then going through with a friend. Maybe I'm the only one that would be interested in that, but I feel like that would be really interesting.
It would be really funny. It'd be like people could send in like their cooked like old 90s like ableist shit and then make me watch it and react to it.
I feel like it would be even cool though to hear you find good movies that are accessible and that are inclusive and go, this is good because of this. Like,
yeah, literally. Because some movies are absolutely stunning and amazing, but due to the way that they're told, like even like say Inception, amazing movie.
I fucking hated it.
Oh, you
Sorry.
did? You
Sorry
did?
for swearing.
No. Yeah, what's the
Maybe
go with
it just
swearing?
went above my head.
Yeah. Well, in terms of cinematography and story, like, and oh, is that my alarm?
Maybe.
Oh, God. Okay, I have
cool.
to turn off my phone.
Do you want me to grab it for you?
Yeah, sure, if you don't mind.
I thought I could hear something, but I'm like, I don't know if it's coming from outside.
I wonder if you get copyrighted for a Samsung alarm. Surely not, because otherwise they couldn't put them on every phone. I am so sorry. That is so unprofessional of me. Go away. I'm going to make sure that
Put
all
your
my
bag there.
yeah.
I just kicked my phone anyway.
I will make sure all my alarms and notifications are off. I'm horrified.
What was that one for? What was that alarm for?
What time is it? Oh,
10:30. I'd love it if you were just like, oh shit, I've got this thing. And you just got up and left. Far out, that'd be funny.
with the headphones still on. Yeah, no, I don't know what that's for. I usually have really weird alarms. I don't know if it's ADHD related, but the time that I set it needs to feel right. Like I can't just have 10:30 by itself. Usually it's like 10:33.
Yeah, sure.
It's all my spiritual
Yeah, interesting.
stuff.
And so I know this about you. You've got a sister down in twin sister?
No, we're not twins actually.
Sister down in Melbourne. Your mum's in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And you used to be a competitive runner.
I did.
Or are you still a competitive runner?
Oh, well, never say never. I'm sure you feel the same way about competitive sports. You're like, you never know what could happen. People have comebacks at 40. You watch all those amazing stories and you're just like, oh, that, well, you know.
Just one training montage away from the Olympics.
Literally. Oh my God. The impatience I have as well. It's.
What level did you make it to in running?
I was a national sprinter.
Sorry, I keep drinking and then swallowing on Jamison. Jamison was really put off by it, so I'm trying to turn away.
As long as they're, I hear my sound brain's as long as they're separate mono tracks, you can edit your swallowing out. As long as they're not going to the same
Sure,
feed,
I'm not editing.
Well, if you need a podcast editor, I'm here. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so what distance were you running?
I was running the 1 and 2 through school. So I did para athletics. So there's basically there's lots of chances because there's less athletes for you to do well and continue through to nationals. So my mum used to make me do the 8. No, I won't say my mum made me, but there was a time where I was doing the 800, the 400, the long jump, shot put, discus, javelin, and the 1 and the 2. And I do that in one day and it's actual insanity. So thank God by the end of my school years, I just cut down to
specialised, yeah.
I specialised.
Were you doing lots of different sports too or mainly athletics?
Just athletics, pretty much. My mum ran a gymnastics club, so did gymnastics, but fell into coaching because when you're when you can't lift yourself around a bar and you're 16, it's kind of I'm just going to coach.
So you coach gymnastics?
Yeah,
okay.
I used to. I lost my accreditation now, but I coach gymnastics from
Lost accreditation sounds horrible. You let it lapse.
Yeah, literally. Because if you've got to be, I only ever had I had to do a whole heap of intermediate coaching stuff that I never ended up doing because if your mum runs the club, you're kind of covered.
Yeah.
So when I moved up to Brisbane, I still just had my beginners coaching. So I was able to get into a gym on that and help coach. And I was doing trampoline and things like that for them. But I had to finish that intermediate and I never did. So, and then that lapsed so quickly.
Yep.
So, and things always advance in sports. So you got to be up to date. So
did you enjoy coaching?
I did.
Yep.
I loved it. I actually miss it a little bit because the little beans
were the parents full on? I'd imagine because I coached swimming for 15 years now.
Yes.
And I can imagine gymnastics would be very similar parents, very full on, living vicariously through their kids.
Yeah.
Were there ever instances where you had to say, look, back off, you're being a bit too full on?
Luckily, the club I was coaching for had basically this glass windowed area for parents to wait. And then they would open the door and the kids would come in and we'd close the door and it'd be
funny.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But you can still see them standing there watching.
Yeah, and it depends on the parents. That gym was a competitive gym, but the main source of income for that gym was recreational kids.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So in terms of there being heaps of the typical sport parent, it wasn't too bad, but I also only coached up to level 2. So I think I coached up to level 3. So I think once you start getting over 3 and then because you go up to basically elite from there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then elite.
Yeah.
it goes to 9 and then elite. I'm like, oh God, I haven't done this in forever. I'm probably getting it wrong. But yeah.
I like the idea of doing those funner earlier levels though as well.
Yeah.
Like when I was coaching swimming, I was in a 25-meter pool, and as soon as the parents would get a little bit crazy, I'd be like, look, I think your child's outgrown this program. I think you better move on to the 50-meter pool down the road.
Yeah, I think they've got some talent to
I
tap
think
into.
they could be an Olympian. No, I didn't say that ever. But certainly, though, I think it's so fun coaching juniors,
Yes.
like especially in the early levels.
Yes.
Small milestones you can celebrate.
Yeah. They're cuter. They actually they listen like the 7 to 9 year olds.
Sure.
I had with WAG, which is Women's Artistic Gymnastics. Depending, it's on skill levels, so you can get quite a large range of students in like a group. And we had they were trying to push there was a 6-year-old that had the skill level of level 3, which is so fine. But we also had like a 12-year-old in the same group, and that age range, like she said something about Santa not being real, and then the 6-year-old turned around and said, what? And then I was like, like, Heidi.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah,
so
that
I had to mediate like basically like adolescent hormones on one end, and then a 6-year-old who had the natural talent, stunning, like she didn't know what she was doing because she didn't have the mental like understanding of like how her body works, so she was just throwing herself around. She was amazing at it, but like she didn't quite understand what was going on. And then like Heidi's just like, Santa's not real.
Yeah, geez, that is tough. Yeah, that's interesting. Hey,
X-nay on the Santa ray.
Yeah. So how many kids would you have had in one class then?
It varied. So in those recreational groups, like they put on a bunch of coaches. So it was probably like you could go up to like 30 kids, all on a mat running around.
Yeah, and all different ages, but mostly the same ability. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. In those recreational groups, they tend to be similar ages, and that was usually used for parents like straight after school, is almost like a babysitting thing. So you just have the kids run in their school uniforms. Yeah. And like just like all my little ADHD, little neurodiversity beings, like I was like, that is me coming back to haunt me. That's
funny.
Because they're just like, hello, school was awful. Yeah. Rah! They're all yelling at you. So that was a bigger group, and we'd have more coaches for that. But then as you start going into levels, it was probably around like 12 to 14. Yeah. And you might have 2 coaches for that, because I think it's eight students per coach.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's varies, but having a 6-year-old and a 12, 13-year-old in the same class was a bit of a oh God.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking about boys, Heidi.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're doing the vault, Heidi. Run towards that object and be quiet, please.
I don't know if I properly introduced you in the beginning. I said Lily Mitchell, but I don't know if I told everyone that Lily is a friend of mine and an incredible stand-up comedian.
Oh, thank you. That means so much.
And how long have you been doing stand-up for?
I just crossed over the 3-year mark.
Nice. Feels like longer than that.
I know.
When I see you perform, I'm like, I feel like you've been doing it as long as me.
Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, well, it's just because I've been performing my whole life. I just didn't have a stage and a microphone.
And so you grew up in northern New South Wales. You've been doing comedy the whole time you've lived in Brisbane?
No, actually. I moved back for uni in 2016. Mm-hmm. And so that was all like doing all the fine arts and the film. And kind of ended up through the film process, like putting myself in the front of the camera for projects. Yep. And then I did like a disability awareness promo for Griffith to explain to the lecturers a little more about diversity of needs, because, disability and stereotypes is a whole thing that needs forever education, because that's where the discrimination and the ignorance comes from. It's like people have things in their brain of like, this is what disability is. And then when you don't meet that, they don't know what to do with you. And they're just like, they almost feel threatened that you don't meet their expectation of what you...
And there'd be the element of, or the stigma behind them not wanting to seem discriminatory as well.
It's such a pressure cooker thing. And then you end up holding the hands of like a 60-year-old script writing lecturer.
Yeah.
Like, not literally ill, but like emotionally going like, no, I'm not requesting this extension because I'm unwell. I'm actually got a permanent eye disease that means that I require extra time. And then they're like, oh, like it's so I decided to do that. And then my friends from uni And I don't know if you know Roman Alberts, another amazing musician. We're just going to do little shout outs.
Yeah, he does rapping.
He does
freestyle stuff. Hey?
Yeah, bullhorn.
And, nice.
And
he's lovely. I've met him like twice.
Yeah, and he also does stand up.
Yeah.
And so him and Max Drummond pushed me to sign up and do like Brat Pack one year. In I think it was like 2021.
Nice, good chat comedy club. Yeah.
Yeah. And I basically kind of got like shoved, but my whole life. Like strangers and family and friends, like ever since I was like maybe like 10 or 11, people have said to my face, you should be a comedian. And then I was like, nah. And I basically shrugged that off for so many years. And then as soon as I started doing it, I actually found like a good rhythm with it, and how like, me telling stories in a small group does apply to on stage sometimes.
Yep.
I say sometimes because sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, basically as soon as I started comedy, people stopped telling me. And I was like, was that the universe going, be a comedian? And I was like, no. And they're like, this is your purpose. And I was like, no. What do you mean? And then as soon as I started, didn't come up. Like it hasn't come up since. And I was like, wow, people were telling me 2 to 3 times a year since I was 10 to be a comedian. And then it just dropped off as soon as I started. And I was like, all right, I hear you. Yeah. I'm listening.
Lily, we are at that point in the episode where we pull out 3. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of the podcast, but we pull out 3 topics and we can talk about those topics, whether it's improv or joke ideas, or I think more often than not, it's going to be, this reminds me of that time.
Yeah. ...
You're the guest. Would you like to pull out the first topic?
Yes, I will, but I'll get you to read it.
Absolutely.
It feels like, okay, we got one.
Cool.
There we go.
So this one says, favorite podcast. Do you listen to podcast episodes?
I listen to We're Here to Help with Jake Johnson and Gareth. I've forgotten his name, but they're from New Girl.
Okay.
I don't know if you've
I watched a few episodes of that.
Yeah, so the guy that plays Nick.
Yeah.
I love that, and they get like other castmates. They just get all these awesome comedians on, and basically people ring in with their like really obscure and like silly issues, and then they pitch them ways to like deal with
them.
And then usually it's like, I accidentally have access to my boss's email and see all his private stuff. Like, how do I deal with that? Or it's like, my husband has this really weird habit. We've been married for 20 years and I actually don't have the heart to tell him that like I hate like that thing, and then they have to navigate like, softballing it in, or do you hardball it? And a lot of them is like someone in their life is like being really odd and making them feel uncomfortable, and usually they're like pitches like to out weird the weird.
That's funny.
And so that's I like doing that, but I actually listen to
not address the problem, just go weirder.
Yeah, like a comics response. But I do love a lot of mindfulness and psychology and philosophy, so I'm all about that as well. I love self-help books. And what were you about to say? What podcast? I was just going to say, there's a lady, a psychologist, and just an amazing mindfulness coach called Tara Brach.
Okay.
And I listen to her guided meditations and that probably more regularly than a normal podcast. But yeah, she's just got this like smooth, like voice. Californian accent. Yep. She's like, like today we're going to explore, like conscious unrest and finding love within the la. And you're just like, hi, Tara.
Yeah.
But
you did a great version of that voice.
And then you hear her actual voice. You're like, oh, that was nothing.
That's funny. Yeah, it's her phone voice. She gets off. She's like, oh, what a crock of shit. Okay, I love the Imperfects.
Yes.
Have you heard of the Imperfects?
Oh, I don't think so.
It's basically like they get people on to talk about very vulnerable things that have happened in their life. Very funny comedian Ryan Shelton is one of the co-hosts, and I'm all about like self-help books and audio books and podcasts at the moment.
Yeah, bettering us as humanity.
Yeah. Nothing's kind of rubbed off on me yet, but maybe one day at some point.
It's just slowly getting like sucked into your subconscious, and then one day you'll just kind of like stand a little straighter and you'll offer someone an orange and you're like, why did I do that? Oh.
Shall I pull another topic?
Yeah, go for it. I'd love to know the history of the hat too, by the way. That could be our third.
It's my kid's kind of prop hat. It's actually a police hat, which I'm going to turn it around. This
awesome topic alert.
This one just says talents. Have you got any like talents apart from stand-up comedy?
Oh my God, I was at an improv Christmas party at the end of last year.
Is that Big Fork or?
Yeah, Big Fork. Love that space. Love those humans. And when things come up that relate to me, my ADHD kind of like interjects with like, I guess from my personal experience, like I don't mean to take over the conversation, but it kind of got into areas of conversation of sport, and I do painting and I do music and I do all the creative things. Can't make my fucking bed and I can't like, you know.
I think it's a creative thing.
Yeah. So I only do the creative things, and people see creativity on a pedestal. So whenever you do like, oh, you sing?
Yeah.
What do you mean you sing? What do you mean you play guitar as well? What do you mean you can
And you're
write
just like,
scripts?
yeah, but look at my bed. It's a mess.
Oh, I get a support worker to do my groceries.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's like I can't shop.
Yeah.
I get overstimulated in shopping centers. Anyway,
Yeah.
so like people will often think that creativity is talent, which it is, but I've also like I've been drawing since like I was so little. Like whenever mum would take us out as like really little kids, she'd always have like crayons and paper. So I like art, being a painter and being an artist and those sort of like talents I've been doing before I started school. So for me, I do think they are talents. Like I do have a very good ear for music. Like I can learn music by ear really quickly, and I can paint pictures. Usually I can't really paint what's in my head. It kind of changes as I go. Like it's quite the process. I basically just have to follow the process, and then a picture at the end is like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think.
Have you ever sold any of these?
Well, no. One thing that deterred me from studying fine art was the whole idea of like making it a financial thing, but I can if I wanted to. But yeah, for me, art is just something that I can do anytime, anywhere, and it's like it really helps with like ADHD and just all the ruminating stuff because I'm actually present
in
and
the
I'm
moment,
drawing.
Yeah.
So I've always just thought of it as something I do, but not something I would sell. But if anyone sees my paintings on Instagram, was buy them.
$1,000.
Yeah, and they're by a blind woman. Oh my God. Oh, I had some artwork in an exhibition and they were like, the Channel 7 came down. And you know how you got to be careful what you say to journalists because even if it's like they don't have the camera rolling, they're logging what you say.
Yeah.
So I made a joke and I was like, oh yeah, I can't really see what I'm doing. Because I can't, but I can. I'm partially sighted. So like, because the whole perception of blindness being completely blind, like there's a very small percentage of people who are blind and low vision that actually have no perception of light or shapes. So the rest of us have some sort of perception in terms of visual perception. So I made this joke to this reporter. Don't know why. I was probably trying to make him feel more comfortable for some reason. Like, oh, well, you know, my existence is weird. So, hey, I'm going to make a joke. Self-deprecating.
What was the joke?
We were talking about my art before the camera was rolling. And I was like, yeah, I can't really see what I'm doing. And then in this like Channel 7 thing, they're like, this is Lily's work is extremely impressive considering she can't really see what she's doing. I was like, what?
Did you correct them on camera?
No,
that would have been so funny.
He took what I said, but when the camera wasn't rolling, and then did it, and then it just got published.
Sure,
and
okay.
I did this post where it was like, actually, it's impressive, full stop.
Yeah.
It's not impressive because I can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I just like fucking used my nose. Like I just got right up in there and like used my hands. It's just like, what do you mean it's impressive because I'm blind? Like if I wasn't blind, would that make it a really shit painting? No, because I was painting before I went blind.
Yeah.
So actually it's probably a decent work.
Yes.
Regardless. But no, it's impressive considering she can't really see what she's doing. And I'm like, yeah, righto. Like, yeah, so that was a funny one.
One more topic out of the hat?
Oh, yeah, sure thing. Out of the whoop, whoop.
I'll get a different hat.
No, I love this hat. Keep the hat. Maybe the hat will involve what the name might be. Yeah.
This one is California. Have you ever been to California or America?
No, I haven't. I've never been amazingly drawn to America. I don't know why.
At the moment.
Yeah, they just keep, my confirmation bias of me not wanting to go is being reaffirmed for sure. But no, my mum's from England, so I've always had a little more drawn to like going to England and sussing out comedy there. A lot of the humor I grew up with was very British
self-deprecating
humor.
stuff.
Very, Up.
Yeah. Are you an Alan Partridge fan?
Yes.
I love Alan Partridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Not as
Stephen
much
Chicken?
as others, but
Sure.
definitely.
Who's your favourite British comedian? Or
Ooh, okay. Oh no. Asking for like favourites. I could
I do that. Like to put people on the spot.
Yeah.
Or what about favourite British comedy generally?
Yeah. Okay. I'll go Bill Bailey and
nice.
I'll go Bill Bailey and Russell Howard are really great.
Yep. Is Black Books?
Black Books I also grew up with. So
Nice.
as well as Lano and Woodley, it was Black Books.
Nice.
So it was very much, the worm you are. No, that's a very niche reference, but if anyone gets that. But Black Books I grew up with as well. So yeah, Dylan Moran and all that sort of stuff, which is, technically not British, but Ireland and all that. But yeah, I've always been more drawn to maybe go there. But also, who knows? It's so expensive.
Yeah.
I know that's like just such a like a normie thing to be like, the money. But yeah, I don't know. Have you been?
I've been to California, one time.
California.
Actually, I've been a few times, but it's beautiful.
Yeah?
I used to go for swimming. So I swam in San Francisco Bay a few times.
Yeah. So you got a little further than nationals.
And one time I swam on the California coastline.
Yeah.
I swam from, I want to say, Manhattan Beach to Venice Beach. Venice Beach being like the Muscle Beach.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was
intimidating.
Cool. It was like when we arrived, it was 20-kilometer swim down the coastline.
Yeah.
And when we arrived, there was like a nudist protest going on. Like women were saying if men don't have to wear bras at the beach, we shouldn't have to.
And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah. But then the weirdest part about this whole protest was there was like biblical kind of protesters there protesting the protesters. So they had like a big
protest
cross
off.
and like a Bibles and like it was full on.
Yeah.
It was like, but it was cool. This episode's gone really, really quickly. Thank you so much for being a part of it today, Lily.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
What do you reckon the name of this episode should be? We'll do this name of this episode and then maybe any ideas for the name of the podcast.
Name of this episode. Ooh, I'll come back to that. The thing that I thought of just because of the hat situation, rabbit in a hat.
Nice.
Or you could go something in a hat, some sort of hat.
Yep. Magical hat, random hat draw.
Yeah, random. Yeah. Hat roulette.
That's cool.
Something to do with the hat. Podcast wise, my brain's being real like mushy, but just like, fun.
We asked a lot of questions today relating to what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Favorite question? Oh yeah, what's your favorite? Yeah. What's your favorite?
I don't know if I normally ask that many what's your favorite questions. So
yeah, maybe this is a what's your favorite with Lily.
Well, thank you so much again.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Guys, make sure you follow Lily on social media. Do you know what your handle is?
Yeah, sure. I swear this isn't narcissistic. My Instagram is the Lily Mitchell. So TheLillyMitchell.
Just the one L in the middle?
Yeah, just one. Yeah,
I stuffed up today.
One in the middle, two on the end.
Oh, nice.
Just to keep it confusing. Nothing more confusing than white people names.
Thank you so much, Lily. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Mwah.